If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon to get the latest updates.
So yeah, welcome to Workday. I know you guys might be knowing how it works, the Workday. It's the same in HCM also, or it's a bit different?
It's the same.
Yeah, cool. So what all modules are there that we need to cover up? Okay. Do you have any idea or any suggestion from which module we should begin, or I can just continue by myself?
I sent a list to Sam. I don't know if he forwarded you the mail. I can read it out once.
No worries. Okay, so let's begin with assets, if that's fine with you.
Which one? Assets? Okay.
Yeah, asset one. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So for assets or for any other module, first of all, we have a business process, basically, which is a process followed when we use any task, right? So if you need to check a business process for any task, it's like BP hyphen and type the task process which you want to see. Okay, yeah. Can you see all these things? So
yes.
These are multiple business process definitions that have been defined in Workday and which are used for different tasks, basically. Cool. Be it a subtask or a main task. By subtask, I will tell you what I mean, and what's the main task also, we'll just look into it. Okay. So if I So these are like 35 are the business process definitions that you can find out for the asset. Now, if we look into asset registration event, that's the default one. So asset registration event, basically how you can record an asset in Workday. There are two steps basically, or I would say two ways by which you can register an asset in Workday. The first way is through a supplier invoice. You can just create a supplier invoice and then do the process. We'll go into that also. The second one is directly register an asset and record it. The registering an asset manually means you can, if in case you don't have a supplier invoice in hand, but later on you'll be getting it. But now at this current point, you need to record an asset in Workday or in your books. You can just manually register an asset. And later on, when you get a supplier invoice from a supplier, you can just link that asset with that supplier invoice so that it can be linked with that invoice. Cool? Yeah. So by register asset, I mean manually you register an asset, manually you fill in all the details of an asset, the period, the depreciation method, whether it's acquisition or it's a lease-based asset, for what cost center. I think you might be aware of the cost center, the work tags, everything, or do I need to
Yeah.
just go through it also? Okay, cool. Yeah. So whatever cost center is assigned to it, you have to define in that particular, like when you do that task, the location if there is, and so on, the purchase date and everything. I'll just let you know how it flows. So this is basically the business process steps that will be followed when you do a manual register of asset. Okay. So in this business process, I think you might be aware of the business process, how it works. There are certain approvals that are defined, the security groups through which it will flow. So if, for example, if we look into step B, it says that business asset is not registered and came from receivables. It needs an action and that will go to business asset tracking specialist. So, and so on, basically. Cool. Now, there might be some validations as well. Okay. So there's a report called as maintain custom validations. And if you go to asset, that's the register. Yeah, asset registration. So you can put some validations here. Okay, validations as in the restrictions. For example, if you want, like I can just create a validation right now. Before that, just let me, what I need to tell you is the critical and warning thing. What do you mean by that? Critical is you don't want the task to process before that condition is fulfilled. Cool. If you set a validation for warning, you just want the user to get an alert that this is the thing that have been entered, but it is not correct. But that the process will go through. It will go for submit or approval thing, but it will not stop the process or stop the task. You can put any validations accordingly. Okay. So once you have put it, it will show up when you do the task. Cool. If you want to put the validations, just click on new validation, put the description, and accordingly you can put the condition and so on, basically. Cool. Now, manually registering an asset, there's a task called as register asset. Okay. Before that, but I am in. I don't know why it's not showing up in this tenant, but
Could it be a security? The ID that you're using?
I don't think so because I'm on the implementation tenant, but yeah, I can just check my. Do you guys are aware of this thing? USEC for Secura?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Register of asset. Business accountant.
Any difficulty, Arohi, in the
No,
tenant access?
no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that I have an implementation access, but I think no.
We'll be having another access just because the support team is not available. So we have
Yeah.
given this temporary to you.
No problem, no problem. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay. It's pretty slow today. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So this is the task that we need to use to register an asset manually. Huh? It's the issue.
Sorry, what was that? Registering the task manually?
Register asset. So whenever there's a task, I think Shalu might be knowing about, if you are in Workday, you might be knowing about ViewSec for Secura. It's for registering an asset manually, it's register asset task, the name itself.
Are you able to access it or you have an issue with access?
I am just looking and I've just assigned the role, but I can't view it. I don't know why. There is no company hierarchy as to which I can assign this. Okay, anyways. Okay, we can take this up a little late. I'll just work on this, why I'm not able to access it, even though I've given the roles. But register an asset is one task. We can switch to the other one, that is through an invoice that you can create it. So the process flows like, you need to create a requisition first. Like, it depends upon company to company or the process how the company follows. Some do not follow all the, like, they only create supply invoice in Workday and then link it. But whole process for P2P or procurement is like, you need to create a requisition. This is the task. Once you you can populate the details automatically for this task as well. You need not, if you want to change it, you can change it, but creating a requisition, whosoever will create a requisition, the details gets automatically populated. Mandatory details will. Okay. If you want to change the cost center, you can do it. Now, while creating a requisition, you need to select a catalog or an item for which you are creating a requisition. Let's say laptop, and we'll put laptop as an asset. We are taking it as an asset. Select it. I've added this item to my cart. I'll go to the cart, check out. You can just again see all the details are fine. Okay. You can just type the memo if you want. This is the good line. Spend category. Are you guys aware of spend category, revenue category?
Yeah, we know the category, but we don't know how you define those here.
Okay, yeah. So this is another spend categories. You need to create it. And okay, now I need to tell you how to do that.
You also tell us, when you selected that item, right? You have, you are like, you are making a request here, right? Before we can make a request, there are certain setup that are mandatory, right? Like the item was already there. So what we need to know is, how do we set those up before we create the supplier invoice?
Set again. Okay, 1 second. Let me just open
the mandatory setups which you need, which are defaulting when you are creating a requisition. The vendor details, how do you set it up, vendor site details, and what are the requisition type we are using here? How do you set that requisition type? What are the values you are using for different type of requisitions? Item type, what you are setting up? Can you show us those details before you start creating the requisition?
Okay, these all things.
No, currency we understand. For example, delivered to, right? So that should be a location which you are setting up, and setting up it as delivered to and a ship to location. So for this requisition and for this company, these two are getting delivered. These two are getting defaulted, right? So how do we get that where from we define these two so that it gets default here?
Yeah.
And what would be the locations which will be coming down for this particular org as
so see, whenever you create a requisition now, it takes the name of the requester, or I would say the initiator who is initiating the task.
Yeah.
Okay. So once that name is picked up, it takes all the details. Now I can show you how. And these, I think, you are HCM guys, you know, whenever you create an employee, you need to fill all the details, the employee company, the once the company is set, the currency, the address, right? So this is the employee. Yeah.
Oh, so when you say that employee could be a can be a buyer or non-buyer, right? So not necessarily that we will be setting it up as a person who will be buying it, right? Certain particular person in an organization can do the buying or purchasing or that doing the order for that company,
So
right? So
yeah,
how do you
yeah.
set it up?
So that depends upon the role that has been defined. Okay. So now if you go to view sec for Secura, right? And if you create, look for create requisition task. This is the task which we are using. And if we look into the security, can you see employee as self? And there are multiple other security groups that have been granted permission. So all employees, yeah, can create a requisition, and the ones that have been assigned these security groups as well. Got
So
it?
when you say
So you
all
need
employees,
to
do they get to choose anything? Like,
Yeah, the items you are talking about.
no, I mean, say a requisition for a laptop is fine, right?
Uh-huh.
But a requisition for, say, a boiler cannot be an employee self-service thing. Where do you restrict that?
That is what I'm saying, that you can restrict it in the validations, the one which I showed you earlier. You can
Okay.
set it up accordingly. If you don't want all the employees to create a requisition for all the items, you can just create a validation that items, like you can mention the spend categories. 1 second. Spend. Yeah, so there's a report, and if you go into that report, you will be having all the details of the items that have been for which the requisition can be raised by an employee. So if in case you don't want all the employees to create a requisition for all the items, you can just restrict it through a validation. So whenever an employee will be creating a requisition for a particular item and that's not for his use, you can just put a validation for it and stop it for moving that process ahead.
Okay.
Cool. So now we are into this page. I would like to just explain you the spend categories. Spend categories are the items for which you'll be creating an invoice. Like the items, basically they are related to the supplier thing. Similar is the case with the revenue items. You'll be having a revenue category as well. For the customer invoices, we use that revenue categories. Spend categories, you can restrict them as per the usage as well. Okay. So if you want a particular spend category that should be used for procurement usage only, that is for requisition, purchase order, and so on, this is the thing. You just have to one. Okay. Yeah. So this is the spend category. If you look into this 3D filament, it has been allowed for ad hoc payment, expenses, procurement, supply, invoices, right? So it depends. You can restrict the usage as well for a particular spend categories. If you don't want, you can do it. Yeah.
So when you say the stock item as no, right? So that means it will not be showing up in the inventory as a quantity item.
Yeah.
So what is the use of using this 3D filament? Like it's a part of an assembly, or why are we doing the stock item as no?
This will not be considered as your stock. You can raise a requisition, basically supplier invoice. You are not purchasing it into a bulk. You will not be recording it in an inventory part. It will be an expense for you.
Okay.
So you will still register it as an asset, right? And then immediately expense it?
Yeah, like you are using it for your expense, basically. Either you will create it as an asset, that is a fixed asset, if I would say, in financial term, not an inventory, but an asset like building or something like that. Fixed asset, I would say, because inventory is not a fixed asset.
So in Workday, only two kind of categories could be there, as spend or
Revenue. Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
And you have to first you have to define the category, or first you have to define the hierarchy.
First, you need to define a hierarchy.
Okay.
Yeah. Define a hierarchy, put the child spend categories into it, and then you can just move ahead. So for every item, there should be a hierarchy. It's a like parent should be there because it will be useful in reporting purposes, basically. That's used for reporting, and it is very useful that everything should have a hierarchy. One more thing I need to show you is like, can you see in spend category, there's a track items. Track items means, I think stock. Yeah, track items means you want them to be an asset or not. I think, if I'm not wrong, because
Is it like the serialized, non-serialized thing?
yeah,
Something to connect to that?
yeah. Just looking for if I can show you.
So if I have a spend category and a hierarchy, can one spend category be available in two spend category hierarchies?
No.
Can you duplicate there?
No, no, no.
You cannot?
No. One item cannot be mapped under two spend categories. Like, it's logically not correct.
Not the item. She's talking about the hierarchy versus the spend category.
Yeah, that is what. Like item by item, I mean the spend category only. So, like logically.
For example, if I have a Apple laptop and I have a Dell laptop, I can use same kind of mouse for both, right? So I can use the same item in the same category of laptops, Dell and Apple, or is it not allowed? I am not getting the connection. How do you establish the connection between hierarchy and spend category?
See, spend categories. Okay, let me show you now. Let's take an example for laptop. See, basically, the relation between hierarchies and spend category depends upon the business, how they want to differentiate it. If they want a particular, like in this example, so in this example, what they have done is there are 5 laptops, different laptops, 2 of which are not under hierarchies, and rest are like 3 of them are not under any hierarchy, but rest of them are. So if the business require that there should be one hierarchy for laptops, you can just put all the laptops under that parent laptop hierarchy. Is your question answered?
So this AA Dell laptop, right? So doesn't have a spend category, or the XP laptop is the spend category for hierarchy for this AA laptop?
No. If you open it, it doesn't have any hierarchy. But if I open Dell laptop, can you see parent mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
So it totally depends upon how you want your items to be mapped under parent. If you don't want, it's up to you. If you want, map it, create a parent, put child under that parent, and it will go.
Okay.
Okay. Now, one more thing, this spend categories, hierarchy, and spend category.
Could you go to the other page and walk through the
Yeah.
other fields on that spend? Yeah, can we just take a look here?
Here?
No, the other page.
Okay.
Yes. The details page, the spend category. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here the item is not linked, right? So do we have to have an item here? Like, what is an item?
Yeah, you can just add an item here.
So what's the purpose of that for them? What are we adding there as an item?
Can you see?
Uh-huh.
For this spend category, we do have a parent that is 3D print, and this 3D filament has a subchild, I would say, as an item.
Okay.
Getting my point? So in items, so as Shalu mentioned that if she wants a mouse that should be used for like in every laptop, you can just map that, put an item here as a mouse.
Can you open one of the items?
Yeah. It's purchase item that has been defined.
So you will have to define the purchase item before.
So see, it depends. Yeah. If you want to create a purchase item and then link it to a spend category, when you will create. Okay. I will cancel this. Can you see the items here? This is a requisition that I'm creating it, right? So whenever you pick up a spend category, in the requisition, you'll see an item and a purchase item, like if there is a purchase item mentioned.
So where are we defining item versus purchase item? Are those both the same, or
Yeah, both are same.
in the spend category, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to the filament one.
Yeah.
No, the filament, the 3D.
1 second. Yeah.
Here, right? So falling under items, right? So,
Yeah.
and then when we open it, it shows purchase item.
Yeah. Okay. Let me
Where is
take
the item then?
1 second. I'll just cancel this one. Let's take 3D.
Mhm.
Okay. Now you want the item, this one, or should I take? What do you want me to pick in the catalog?
So ROE, we are not getting the connection actually. What you have to define first, either the spend category hierarchy, the spend category, or the item first. Like how the items
Yeah,
are
we are
getting
trying to get
defaulted
the
here,
flow
right?
of it. Yeah.
Okay. So for the flow, you need to define a spend hierarchy first. Once the hierarchy is defined, you can create a spend category. And then under that spend category, you can create items. So parent will be spend hierarchy, child will be spend category, and then you have subchilds as an item. And those items are the purchase items. So if I open this, these are the purchase items.
So whenever you say item, it's essentially a purchase item.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a purchase item.
Okay.
There could be an expense item as well, right? So how do you define that?
Sorry.
There could be an expense item as well, right? How many kind of items it could be?
There are only two items, purchase items and sales items.
So ROI, can you define from the starting one item and then attach it to the category and then to the spend category hierarchy? So
Yeah.
that we get
And
a
then
connection
create
kind
the
of,
requisition. Yeah.
yeah. And then like how are you defining all the supplier information within the item, and what are these related work tags? How are you doing the sourcing rule and inventory information inside this item? All these
So
things we wanted to
basically,
know.
okay, I thought that you guys might be knowing all of them because in the module,
No,
it
no,
will not.
no, no. How do we know inventory and sourcing rule? That's
Uh,
particularly related to supply chain management, right? We are from a human capital management area. There's
no,
no
no, no,
inventory
I
sourcing rule
understood
here.
your point, Shalu, but my point was like I was not aware. It was not written like I should mention you the core thing as well. I just started with the essay, so no problem. Uh,
The sourcing rule is a very important part, right? How do you source a particular item from
No, I
particular
understand now.
organization?
I'm getting your point. Why I can understand totally. I've just started creating an asset, which will not be useful. I thought that you might have a session on all the like basic things, but I was wrong.
This is not basic. Sourcing rule is not basic. It's quite advanced. In purchasing, sourcing rule is not a basic thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. But it
Yeah.
is covered
We
under a
know that.
different
Yeah.
module. Yeah.
Yeah. Or we need like full cycle thing, right? When we are doing it, right? So we need to see like how,
We have
what
done this
steps. Yeah.
entire thing in Oracle or PeopleSoft, so we know what it is, but we want to understand how this works in Workday. Like, how do you do the sourcing rule? What are the tasks you are using? What are the basic setup you are
BPs.
using for sourcing rule, right? So we know that the sourcing rule is a way how you source your item from an organization, from which particular inventory, you will be putting that up, but you have to show us how do you create that in Workday. I'm interested. We are interested in that. How do you define, because before you define, before your purchase item is there, you have to attach it with the supplier, right? So you can show us how do you
Yeah,
define your
I
vendors.
understand, Shalu, but that's a different module altogether. Okay, so if we talk about like the items which have been shared to me or the modules, it was like business assets and everything. But yeah, you are also correct. You should, okay, so in our next session, I will be telling you all the like from the start how it flows. Okay.
Okay. All right then. Thanks for your help today. We'll talk to you tomorrow then.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below, and we will reply to them at the earliest.